Talking about a revolution. What's happening? What it do?
What's up? What's up, good people?
They wasn't ready for that.
They wasn't ready for that. That was
What
the
is
new
this?
intro. We
What is this cold open? Where's the scratching? Where's the instrumental? Where's our wonderful conductor to welcome us onto this Remix Morning Show journey today?
Listen, I got a memo that said Kim was gonna be beatboxing today. So
Right.
I mean, clearly you ain't get the same memo. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Doctor, we had to fire him, man. You know what I'm saying? We like, look, man, enough is enough. Dr. Jared Ball said, listen, man, you know, he's messing up my tenure over at Morgan State. You know what I mean? And we gotta get rid of him, man. You know, but we'll always love it, Doctor. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Doctor's out of here. No, I'm joking. Doctor took the day off.
in the Navy, we had there was a phrase they used to have called unauthorized absence.
UA.
UA. And Ear Doctor has gone UA.
He's going UA.
Yeah, he went ahead and authorized his own, I don't know what this is, vacation, day off.
Oh, man. That's how it is.
Something about summer camps and parenting. You know what I mean?
That's
I
what
don't
it was?
know. These kids, something about these kids want their parents around. I don't understand. This must be some new stuff.
This is new. This is will be tough, huh?
these soft new generations. They don't know nothing about being left alone all summer, being pushed outside.
And then you notice the sidekick
dinner if you can.
Then his sidekick's absent as well. What's going on with that, man? He's later than usual.
Oh, the other K, the Black KKK.
K.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, guys. Here we are on the 31st of May. Here we are. This is just how this Tuesday is beginning on the Remix Morning Show. Welcome, everybody.
Hey,
Shout out to
Monday.
Yeah. Well, see, there you go, Jay.
Okay. Got the fresh cup.
Got the fresh cup.
Hold on, man. Show him that one more time, man. Show him that one more time.
Yes.
Woo! Crisp. Remix
Coffee
Morning Show.
Extra good.
Man.
Extra black.
In fact,
now I got to get one.
Like I had to double.
Woo! Stunting.
Double. Just
double fist.
No, look at him. Look at
double fist at BPM. Look at that black ass coffee, tasting strong as I don't know what.
She said that black ass coffee. That's what y'all drinking.
Black ass coffee. That is how I take it.
That's right. Matter of fact, that's the new tagline. Come to BPM where you can get that black ass coffee early in the morning.
Coffee.
You know what I mean?
Unless there's some nearest in my cup, it's just straight.
I'm with you on that. And nearest is back in effect too, man. They was heard they was canceled out for a minute, so they back on deck according to sources. You know what I mean?
Canceled for what reason? Why were they canceled?
No, they weren't canceled. They just ran out because we was promoting them so hard here on BPM, trying to get these million followers behind us. So sister could come on board.
That's what she told us.
Brought it up. Yeah, she
y'all need a meal ticket. Y'all need a meal right now. Y'all at that 17-cent mark. Y'all need to get a meal ticket. What's up?
Hey Jared, what she told me? She told me to keep on, and I'll get to 1 million.
Something like that. You said keep working, and one day I might come on your show.
Yo, she patted me on the back, like on my head, like she's Mean Joe Green, and I was bringing her a coat. You know what I'm saying?
She threw you a sweaty. She threw you a sweaty jersey.
A sweaty jersey, a sweaty bra.
Hey, get your weight up, little buddy. You're gonna make it one day.
Threw me a sweaty bra. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A cup. I was like, okay, thank you, miss.
And
did me wrong, did she, Jay? At least she answered though, right?
She answered and she was honest. Yeah. Something about the time worthiness formula or whatever she has wasn't. I mean, the numbers weren't right.
That's that corporate speak, baby.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And hit me direct too. So you know what I'm saying? So she didn't even, I mean, I was like, okay, I at first I was gonna bug out and talk about it, but I said I'll see her one day and I'll deal with this in person. We on somebody's stage and whatnot, standing next to her. You know what I mean? And I'm drinking our own fine whiskey, that remix whiskey. You know what I mean?
Uncle Nearest, I wonder, I mean, again, I'm speculating here, but I knew there had been a strike of distillery workers happening in Kentucky. I don't know if it resolved. This was some months ago, but I wonder if the reason that Uncle Nearest ran out of product is because they were affected by said distillery strike in Kentucky. That's
I don't know if so they covered it up well, but I know like plenty of the stores were saying that, you know, they were just, they couldn't keep them in stock. So
wow.
I don't know which is which.
Problem. Good for Uncle Nearest.
Yeah, I guess so. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of problems, and this ain't a good problem, today happens to be May 31st, which happens to be 101 years, 101 year after the situation, the Tulsa race massacre, which was the large-scale racially motivated conflict between May 31st and June 1st, 1921, between the white and black communities of Tulsa, in which the wealthiest African-American, quote-unquote, community in the United States, the Greenwood District, also known as Black Wall Street, was burned to the ground, aerial firebombed. After the 16-hour assault, over 800 people were admitted to local hospitals. 6,000 Greenwood residents were arrested and detained at 3 local facilities, and an estimated 10,000 were left homeless. 35 city blocks composed of 1,256 residents were destroyed by fire. They say, according to their official statistics, that there were 300 casualties. I actually visited Greenwood some years back, and I talked to a brother, Curtis Mullins. Shout out to Curtis Mullins. He's one of Deruba's comrades, one of the comrades who was who they tried to jack up with the whole Panther 21 situation. And he told me that there was a spot, he took us to a spot where there were some condos that was built, and he said that there was actually it was actually built on top of a burial ground, and he claims that over 2,000 people perished during that particular joint, and they buried them in a shallow grave, and has this these condominiums on top of it right now. So salute to you know, the memory of Tulsa. I know there are a couple folks who are still around, that were youngsters back then, and you know, they are still seeking justice. I know that one of the brothers, I think, is 107. The other is like a sister, like 105 years old. They were, of course, babies during that time period, but they were the offspring of folks who were decimated during that particular time period. Folks always talk about Black Wall Street in present day, as Jared knows, as if it's going to be some new flourishing type situation, conveniently forgetting about white supremacy, the same white supremacy that existed 101 years ago, still exists here today.
Yeah, right on. If I tweeted it out this morning, so at some point I encourage people to check out a number of pieces. The interview with Dr. Sean Utzi, Black psychologist who's also done work around Black Wall Street. Tweeted that out this morning, as well as the Black Myths podcast. Great breakdowns in 2 parts of Black Wall Street and the mythology around that as well. Because as tragic as those events were, and I'm glad that you raised the point about commemorating the survivors and the miscalculated dead is often the case. I think it's also important to remember that there was a prison break to start, that, you know, at the center of this, and not allowing one of their own to be lynched. There was the importance of armed struggle and self-defense involved in this. But then also, unfortunately for me, there's been a lot of mythology around what Black Wall Street was. And this is one reason why, again, I commemorate Black Myths podcast in particular for their work on this. But in reminding us of the class struggles around the Black community there, the white oil dependency that was involved in that. Most Black people were not doing well, were struggling, working people, again, dependent on an oil economy, a surrounding a white-owned oil economy. And then it was ultimately federal policy that destroyed Black Wall Street, not the violence of the vigilantes. And that's something that I think is often misunderstood, if not fully omitted, when people remember this history, having come back, rebuilt to even be more successful. That is the Black Wall Street in Tulsa by the 1940s, and then it was the federal policy with highway development and other gentrification efforts, et cetera, that destroyed that. So again, it's political power. It's not entrepreneurialism. It's not a black capitalism that's going to help us. So again, after the violence and the struggle around that is commemorated and appropriately understood, I think we need to understand that there's the broader political violence of the state that still has to be dealt with.
No doubt. And I also, definitely, we're going to hear more of that. And shout out to, as you mentioned, Black Myth Podcast. If you all have not checked out Black Myth Podcast, there's some of our young guns here at Black Power Media. Unfortunately, I think that some of you only tap into like RemiX and some of the earlier shows, but we have a gang of different content providers and urban journalists, for lack of better words, out here that's really putting in that work. So I definitely implore you all to like and subscribe to the channel, but also check out some of the powerful material that we have here, and it's really like no other. You know what I'm saying? How the joint used to go. I'm not only a client, I'm a president. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm one of the presidents, but I'm a fan of our work, and I want to say that Jared's working on his road game. I got a little bit today, so we good. But I also want to shout out. We lost one of our members this past weekend of BPM. Many folks know our man, who I call Brusky, but he is Brewski, which is the dog of the companion pet, Jackie Lukman.
Wait, where did y'all see this at? Like, I see it like this.
She posted it on Facebook.
On Facebook, because I'm on her Twitter and I see Brewski at the beach.
That was apparently it for him, and he didn't survive that trip. And so we definitely send love and support to her. And I know, like I said the other day, people, I know Kim gets it, but I know a lot of people who are not pet owners don't understand. Right. And sometimes take it lightly when they hear about somebody's pet passing. And it's no joke. Right. It's family.
Yeah, and we're used to them because, periodically he'll come pranced across the screen. So folks who have been supporting us for this past year and some change, we know that she was definitely close to him. They were family, her and Abdus, who we also lost last year here. And, we want to definitely send our condolences to our comrade and sister, Kim. And
Jackie.
Excuse me, Jackie. Well, you too. You crying. You just made me think about it.
Sorry. I mean, that really hurts my feelings for Jackie because Brewski was her baby, and her and Abdus adopted Brewski together. And I was showing my mom the videos of Brewski. I'm like, look at mom, look at Brewski at the beach. Jackie took Brewski to the beach. So this is very sad news. I feel terrible for Jackie right now. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. No,
it's all good. It's all, right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's terrible. Especially given all that Jackie's gone through lately. But again, specifically, just I get it. The importance that animals and pets, play in our lives. It's no joke.
No doubt. And plus, he was such a reminder of Abdus. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Which, for folks who are new to the channel, that was Abdus was part of Lukman Nation and also part of our platform, and the husband of Jackie Lukman. And, of course, if you don't know by now, Brewski was their adopted, companion pet. So, so we want to send our condolences out to.
And on a slightly lighter news, all puns intended, Kamal's absence is only due to an internet failure.
That's what apparently.
It is. That's the word in these tech streets.
That's what's popular.
We
threw the hard way today.
We threw the hard way. So why don't we take a quick break, slap the map, and come back and get into some of these stories because there's so much wrong in the world. It might actually make us feel a little better about this bad news.
No doubt. Yes, indeed. Right, welcome back to the Remix Morning Show. Black Power Media. Yes, Jared stunting with his mug and whatnot. I got to get my mugs. I'm left out.
The mugs are actually fly, man. I mean, I have to say, I mean, like the legit. I mean, I know this is in fact, going to ultimately be a commercial, but they are legit quality mugs. I mean, it's a good mug to have. It's well put together, sturdy, solid. I got the I don't know, the 17 ounce, the big one. I don't know. You can get multiple sizes.
We sourced those ceramics from Mozambique. Is that straight from the continent, like Sean King's merchandise line?
No, we got ours sourced from Sean King. No, I'm joking.
So what was that thing? He just got a regular black t-shirt with a word on it that he charged like $100. What was it? What was something like that?
It was a hoodie. It was a hoodie that he was charging, I think, north of $160 for. And people still hadn't received it 8 months on after placing their initial orders.
Well, unlike Sean King, we have Sister May over here producing our products, you know what I'm saying, designing them and make sure they crisp. And then we have the hookup with some company. We try to make sure that we keep it as non-exploitive as possible, because we don't support exploitation around these parts. So shout out to all the folks behind the scenes that's putting in that work to make sure that we do what we do. Shirley, I see you said you ordered a BPM t-shirt this weekend. You're going to be super fly. If you put a BPM t-shirt on, man, look at here. I don't even wear my BPM t-shirt too much because I don't want y'all talking about how fly I am. It'll distract the news. And then Jared will be upset. And we won't want that to happen. So speaking of the news.
For the coffee mugs, real quick, are those separate? So there's a BPM coffee mug and a RemiX coffee mug specifically? Or
Jared,
are they?
Show again, Jared. She might have missed it.
Same?
Might have missed it.
We got Bam. Oh, I like it.
Bam.
I like that RemiX look tight though.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And somebody's talking about we should get a new logo. And
what?
Let me pull my credit. I designed the RemiX logo. Thank you, folks.
You did that, Kalanji. That's pretty good.
That's because we didn't want to pay nobody else. And
you got to utilize the workers you have and the skill sets available.
That's right. We will enslave
on the logo.
No doubt. But anyway, it's a lot going on today. You had something you wanted to
well, there's two things off of the run sheet I did want to bring up this morning. One is admittedly a little silly, but I did want to ask Kim if you had a chance to see what I believe is the finale of We Own This City. If you've been fully caught up.
So part 6 is the final part.
I believe, was that the last one? The one that I think so. I can't imagine there's any. It felt like a conclusion that I watched yesterday. But let me double check. Yeah, go ahead.
I had to get caught up, so I had to get caught up on part 4 and 5. So I watched part 4 and 5. So I was literally watching kind of 3 hours of We Own This City last night, and I think I might have fell asleep in part on the last part 6.
Yeah, 6 is the last part. Yeah.
But it started off with hilarity, with Wayne Jenkins being sat in front of federal prosecutors, and they're like, "Okay, you can tell us whatever you want to tell us to mitigate your sentence," and he's like, "I'm innocent." I said,
ho. Y'all doing these BPM non-spoiler alerts, spoiling the joint for everybody else.
But it's not really a spoiler alert though.
Okay. There won't be any spoilers.
There's no spoilers because this is all transpired. This is all basically mostly real life events. Though I did see Gerard. Apparently, David Simon was involved in Twitter argument with the lawyer for the suitors, for Sean Suiter's family. Because it's like, why the fuck is Sean Suiter all up in this? Like, I haven't finished watching part 6, so I'm curious how they tie him in to.
So he's tied in because of, and again, this is not a spoiler, but this is just the real history. Sean Suiter, the police officer who, depending on whose version you believe, was either killed or killed himself. He's tied in because he previously worked with the lead criminal cop,
right,
and was being invited to testify to what he. So this was where it gets a little in the weeds. He was not being, according to the series, I don't remember exactly where it was in real life, but according to the series, he was not being considered to be a target of the investigation. He was being brought in as a material witness. To corroborate what he had seen when he previously worked in another context with the dirty cop. And according to the series, he was guilty. So they presented as he felt that his good family name, which is a theme of this last episode, by the way, that his good family name was going to be disturbed. And of course, the popular story is that if you kill yourself as a police officer, your family doesn't get all the benefits. So the idea was that he tried to make it look like he was killed so that his family would get all the benefits. And that's been part of the controversy since his death. But that's the connection for him. Now I think you raised an interesting question as to why he gets so much attention in this series, when there's so many other avenues that could have been, explored. But that, I think, is why, But the only thing I was going to ask, without a spoiler, is that the only thing I was going to say this morning is that David Simon, there's when you watch the rest of the episode, you do get, I think, what I would call the quintessential I want awards and praise speeches from one of the characters. You know what I mean? You get one of those, that's the Oscar speech type lie, you know what I mean? This is what's going to have everybody saying, oh, this series was such a powerful, introspective, deep, reconsider the institutional impact of, one of the, like, let's feel bad for the people type things for, but it just, I don't know. But anyway, so I'll leave it there. But I just was wondering if you had a chance to see it.
I'm gonna catch up with it. Like I said, I started to watch part 6 last night, but I think I fell asleep, so I'm gonna catch up on it today. But I mean, my kind of takeaway from this series is that Baltimore is a mess. Baltimore is a political mess. I mean,
that's been forever though, right? I mean, like,
yes.
from an outside point of view, it's like, I mean, that's been, I mean, it is an example of a true American city. It reflects so much of America, just in that little small population, everything from the crime to the poverty to the politicians, the whole nine. But I don't know. Can we get David Simon on here or what?
I'll reach out. I'll definitely reach out and see if he'll come through.
Come on, David Simon don't want this smoke, bro. You already know, man. David Simon. He needs to be in comfortable liberal spaces where he is welcomed as the white guy that gets it. David Simon's not ready to stand up to no real critique of his work and his propaganda. And I'm sure he would argue that it's not propaganda. It absolutely is propaganda from top to bottom. Yeah. I don't give a fuck how good of a father Wayne Jenkins was. Like, I don't care that he stopped a search to go check out his son's Pee-wee football game. That don't make him a good person. It actually makes him.
Oh yeah. And we and for the record, and I'm gonna go on record and say this just in case there's any confusion. You will never, ever get the police on Black Power Media. Never ever. We will not be promoting the police. There'll be no officer friendly on the channel. There'll be no ex-cops on the motherfucker unless they did some shit that was just so phenomenal that they avenged or something in regards to the community. You never catch that here. Anyway,
I think that's unfortunate. I think we should have a fair and balanced discussion.
We do.
Let the police speak.
We do. We have it just like Fox News is fair and balanced. So we were fairly balanced their ass off this damn platform. Come on here. How about that?
So for me, and I see some of the chat talking about, what we should do on this show. For me, it's more of just a less than serious look at propaganda. But I'm certainly open to following up and seeing if there's more, And if folks suggesting Garland Nixon, if he has produced something interesting on this show, please send the link and let us check it out. And then real quick, just as a somewhat comedic aside, since we all might need a little levity, DJ Vlad and Complex took down my video yesterday, so I had to put it back up in pieces, minus the clip of where we talked about the killing of Larry Davis. But if you need a little levity, please go check out the Why I Should Have Been at African Liberation Day for some of my Jared's Curb Your Enthusiasm episode at the soccer tournament this weekend. And get yourself a good laugh at my expense. Enjoy yourselves.
Hey, yo, I heard Brigitte Nielsen rolled up on Dr. Jared.
She sure did, boy.
Called him Foofy and placed his face inside her bosom and told him he would not never, ever have anything bad to say about.
She would have picked me up like that old cartoon. Remember that, the Georgie, the big snowman, when he was playing with it? And Georgie, we going to play and have a little.
Kim is totally confused.
And I pet him and feed him.
I'm looking for the tape. So if anybody got their tape of Brigitte Nielsen picking up.
Oh man, I'm telling you,
Dr. Jared Ball live at the soccer tournament.
I'm confused, Jared. Brigitte Nielsen rolled up on you in Colombia? Like, what happened?
Yeah, no, I was at
Russian milk on
my baby girl's soccer tournament, and there was a trainer. It was just a situation where I had to get my daughter cleared by a trainer, and she wasn't being cooperative. And she at one point, anyway, it's funny. She at one point said that I was making her uncomfortable. And then when she stood up and walked past me, I just had to marvel at the physical size relative to me. And again, I'm 6'2", about 220. And I was looking.
You looking up?
And plus, I was talking about, my back was hurt. I was sitting down. I was all, I was a little bit messed up anyway. But it was just funny. And even in that moment, I was like, oh, this is gonna be when I calm down and I'm not angry. This is about to be funny. Because she would have, I think she really would have whooped my ass. Even if that's what I'm saying yesterday. Even if my back was okay, it'd have been 50-50.
Well, it's like I'm gonna be fighting the revolution by myself around these parts, ladies and gentlemen. Where's Balagoon? You need them.
I said I
haven't class, man.
I haven't taken enough warrior classes to mess with. I was not ready. I got to train for another several years before I'd have been ready for that. And she was no joke. But anyway, but the whole story I think is pretty funny. So like, if anyway, I enjoyed telling it.
No doubt. And shout out,
and that's what I get. By the way, that's what I get for playing a Vlad clip. I'm not ever watching Vlad shit anymore. I played 6 minutes of a 3-hour video of his, and they snatched the whole joint, blocked the whole video.
Damn.
I mean, and that's and Vlad actually had Daruba on one time.
I know.
And it was crazy because I remember Daruba called me. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to go to this interview with me." I was tired. I said, who you doing it with? He said, I don't know. He said, somebody, let me see, VLA something. I said, man, I ain't got time to be doing that junk, man. I said something about I was tired. He's like, oh man, come on, whatever. So a few weeks later, somebody called me. He's like, yo, the Ripple was on Vlad TV. I said, what are you talking about? So then he sends me the clip and I look at it. So I called him. I said, when did you do Vlad TV? He said, man, get out of here with that bullshit, man. I called you a couple weeks ago and said roll through with me. I said, man, you said it was BLA. He said, it is BLA.
Everybody was right.
Yeah, so
everybody
anyway.
was right.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, you got him coming on again with a Jambu.
Yes. Today
soon, right?
at
When
noon.
is that today?
Yes, today at noon we'll be talking about quote unquote gun violence. We're gonna get into what y'all Canadian Prime Minister talking about. We're gonna talk about some of these mass shootings and everything. And it's so timely, isn't it? It's a wonderful time for this cracker to talk crazy. So we're gonna have Daruba and the Jamu come on at noon. So make sure you all set your clocks for 12 o'clock EST. Yeah. And they're gonna break it down. And I'm gonna just be riding shotgun, poking the dragon.
It's a good time to remind. Sorry about that.
I was just going to say, Canada always finds the audacity. Canada always swears they more civilized in the U.S. We're the polite colonizers. You know what I'm saying? We genocided our indigenous people a little bit more quietly than the Americans did, and they're still indigenous people are still very much under attack throughout Canada, but especially out in British Columbia.
Not according to my guest yesterday.
What they said, Jared. Who's your guest?
Indigenous people were just as guilty for slavery as the white folks. Was basically his argument.
Oh, what was your guess? I missed the show.
There's space for that. There's space for the anti-blackness within indigenous communities, totally, and slave ownership within indigenous communities. Yeah.
But if we're talking about slavery and what in the condition of black people out, it would be like pointing to the black slave owners and saying that they were it was a very Henry Louis Gates style argument.
Oh boy.
A pro reparations South Carolina politician running against Clyburn. So he's got part of the problem correct. He's running, he's trying to unseat a problem, but trying to, I think, create another one. But it was an interesting debate.
How did indigenous slave ownership even into this conversation?
I missed that.
Part of the longer story is part of his argument for why he was trying to explain why black people deserve reparations. And he was saying that indigenous people got theirs, Japanese, Jews got theirs. So my point was, I forgot. Greg something.
He was a guest on his show. He forgot who he was.
A guest on my show. I forgot. Yeah, I didn't know him.
Wasn't
before,
Greg Abbott,
and I'm happy to. No. I didn't know him before, and I'm happy to not know him going forward. It was a fun but unfortunate pairing.
I'm definitely glad I missed that show because I would have reserved my right. We have what we call wild cards that has been initiated by Dr. Jared Ball. It doesn't have an official title, but that's when you can jump your ass in the chat or on the show. If shit get too out of hand, you can just hop up on the screen, be like, "That's some bullshit," and then leave real quick. So
it would have been appropriate.
It'd have been appropriate.
So my only point was, the point I was just trying to make to him was that in making comparisons, I wouldn't want us to compare black reparations to what little was given other communities, and I certainly wouldn't want black people to be compared, or I wouldn't want black reparations to be compared to a reservation, to having black people put on reservations, which to me sounded like he wanted like a slightly improved version of indigenous reservations. So I was like, I just think you underestimate how good I think you overestimate how good they have it.
Yeah,
and I think we should be wanting more, and it degenerated from there. Is the point? So it was a very it was very interesting. So anyway, my bad. Not everyone is anyway. So that was it.
I'm looking forward to continuing to miss that particular episode.
But It's
damn, Jared. Hold on. Imani says in the chat that Jared muted him. And then
I did.
Then completely took old boy off the screen.
I did.
Dr. So Paul, I let him do that, brother. That's not how we do it around here.
I let him talk. I let him go I thought I went, the videos that we can see, like we can timestamp it. I feel like I let him go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And then I just was trying to get a point in, and he wasn't letting it happen. So I did mute him, took him off the thing. I was like, just let me finish my point, and then I'll give you all the time to respond. And it just wasn't happening. Oh, wow. And then he left. And then
you muted him and took him out the screen.
I did. I tried. It was funny too, because I kept trying to mute him, and I didn't realize that. I thought if you mute them from the studio, they cannot unmute themselves, but you can apparently. So he kept unmuting himself. And I kept muting him, and he was like, "Nah."
He tried to strong arm your platform, man. What type of business is that?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Look, look, I think neither of us understood what we were getting ourselves into. So, we had an interesting conversation, and, I do think it speaks to some broader problems where we are politically, and where, this moment we're in, and this disturbing sort of conservative reactionary rebranding of Black radicalism is a little disturbing to me. But if I don't go beyond the immediacy of our conversation, I can enjoy it. It was all right. It was funny,
Wow. Hey, man.
Anyway, Kim, sorry, go ahead, Kalonji.
No. It's all good. I know it's a lot of gun violence. I definitely want to touch on Canada, but Kim has a story you want to get on first.
Oh, well, yeah. It's a story, but the problem is it's always a fucking story. This is a story every goddamn time the seasons change.
Yeah.
In Maryland, specifically in Baltimore. So today, May 31st, while I believe there's still at least 2 to 3 weeks left in the school year, upwards of 20 schools, maybe just shy of 30 schools today in Baltimore will be closed or dismissed early. Why? Is it because of finals? No, it's because for generations, every single fucking year, all of these schools either lack proper air conditioning or they don't have air conditioning at all. Let me read this from WBAL TV 11 in Baltimore. Some Baltimore City schools will close or dismiss early Tuesday due to forecasted hot temperatures. No, that's not why they're closing. It's hot every spring and summer in Maryland and Baltimore. They're not closing because the temperatures are hot. The district said that the schools listed below will close early or have early dismissal on extremely hot days or feel warmer due to a combination of heat and humidity. Schools not listed below have air conditioning. What the fuck does that even mean? This is kind of oddly written. These schools will be closed for in-person learning on extremely hot days. Why is this? I'm in a little bit of confusion. And they list a bunch of schools, and then it says schools with air conditioning that is currently under repair and will close for in-person learning on extremely hot days include, and then it lists another set of schools. And it says the district does not plan to install air conditioning for the following schools and alternative programs because their buildings are not owned by the district. And it lists, I would imagine, are some charter schools, Empowerment Academy, etc.
I think it's just the one. Yeah.
But what I'm really confused at the framing, number one, of this story, because it says that it's closing these schools. Baltimore City schools will be closing these particular buildings because it's hot. They're not closing because it's hot. They're closing because the schools lack air. They do not have proper air. In the wintertime, some of these same schools do not have heat. Children will be inside, bundled the fuck up, see they breath all in the air, and are expected to learn. And teachers are expected to teach in these conditions. And when we look at, we can look very easily at how this parallels very nicely with we own these streets, or we own this city, because you see where all Baltimore's money goes, right? It goes to fuckheads like Wayne Jenkins and his gun trace terrorist task force out here robbing people, setting people up, literally killing people because of their gross misconduct. And don't wonder why kids got to shooting up at the harbor this weekend. Like, don't ask them questions, okay? 2 17-year-olds were shot at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore. One of them died. And Mayor Brandon Scott got on TV talking about some personal responsibility. Motherfucker, these schools are your responsibility. You understand? Brandon Scott, you got one job here, and that's to look out for the children of Baltimore City. Don't lecture, don't finger wag their parents and ask where are the parents, where are the fucking leaders in this city? How come these schools do not have air conditioning? And the other sinister part about these particular schools in Baltimore not having air, because it's always the Black areas in Maryland whose schools lack shit like proper air conditioning and heating. Maryland has casinos, okay? Maryland has legalized gambling. We got an MGM casino. We got Maryland Live out there in Anne Arundel County.
Do they have air conditioning?
Definitely got air conditioning, Kalanji. They absolutely have air conditioning. But what was part of the deal to bring casinos to Maryland was the understanding that a portion, and this goes for the Maryland State Lottery as well, a portion of the gambling funds are supposed to go to public fucking schools. And these casinos, even prior to the pandemic, were bringing in record amounts of money. So how in the fuck did none of that MGM Grand casino money make it to these 30 schools in Baltimore City who have generationally lacked air conditioning? I'm sorry.
Because Kim, they have a long track record of not diverting promised funds to these. Remember, because that was as a Maryland taxpayer, we were told statewide we were going to benefit from paying for the Ravens Stadium.
Oh, yes.
When they put that downtown. Remember, it's going to generate all this revenue. It's going to go to city schools. It's going to create jobs for city residents. It's going to do all of this. To your point about the gambling, before that, it was the whole thing about the lottery historically. The lottery is going to generate money for schools. And when we tax your cigarettes, it's going to generate money for schools. And to your point, every damn year, this story comes out, and never in the story, at least in these initial alerts, do I see, including in this one, and the city is therefore going to ramp up other, services for the kids who are now going to be home all day, for the parents who are going to have to do what with their kids while they go to work, for the kids who need the schools for their breakfast and lunches. Never mind the education and the actual air conditioning, like all of that, man. And it's perfect that this would come out right after We Own This City wraps.
I mean, what's the weather like up there?
Speech writing it. Today's gonna be 95 degrees.
95 degrees.
So it is hot up there. So let me ask this. I mean, because of the fact that I'm seeing, okay, we know the schools, the air conditioning is fucked up, and my guess is the materials are outdated. You know what I'm saying? It's the same song, different verse, whatever. So there's no outdoor places that they can go. There's no field trips. There's no outside education that they can do. Wow, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, fuck it, we don't have school, and
not without catching a loitering charge.
Wow.
Okay, right. Oh,
and you notice wherever they have casinos, it's usually around some poor areas in the Black community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like
it's HBCUs. Right. They built it right next to the Greyhound bus station.
Right.
Wow.
So
and it's the worst casino in the state. It's the Baltimore casino. There's a gentleman who makes these hilarious TikToks about Baltimore, and he's got one about that Baltimore casino. Like, niggas are already waiting to rob you when you go into the garage. Like, it smelled like pizza and depression in here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but it Kalanji, I swear to God, this happens every single year. And then, guys, put this in the context of fucking COVID, right? If these school systems, or pardon me, these schools in Baltimore City lack the basic infrastructure to have air conditioning, what you think that ventilation is looking like circulating the air? COVID all in the schools. You know what I'm saying? And children
mold, whatever,
asbestos, lead in the water fountains. It is a disaster. Like, this is the shit that pisses me off about Baltimore, because again, we keep having historic black leadership, black mayor, black state's attorney, black city council, black. How come they not at Larry Hogan's door? Nigga, run us our fucking money for the air conditioning for these schools. Like, I don't see black leadership out there like that.
Because they're too busy buttering their own pockets, and they're in cahoots. You know what I'm saying? And they down the same gang. So they don't, so shit. I don't see nothing, see no evil. You see no evil, hear no evil.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this is wild just to this is but this is supposed to be, the greatest country in the world, the land of the free and the home of the brave. You know what I'm saying? When we know it's the land of the thief and the home of the slave. But that's just how it goes around these parts, man. I appreciate you all giving us an update on what's going on in the dope capital of America. You know what I'm saying? Still hot as fuck, still doing what they doing. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, I mean, this is amazing. So it's no wonder that the topic of the day is around quote unquote gun violence, mass shootings, etc. And you have white boy Roy up in Canada, Trudeau, Justin, talking all this jazz about banning weapons, how they're going to ban guns and all of this, which is a crock of shit because of the fact that it sounds real good and from one angle. Well, it doesn't really sound good, but I mean, he's saying, okay, if you already have handguns, then it's cool, but we're going to do a buyback program for like ARs and shit like that. And folks constantly compare the US to Canada. First of all, I mean, Canada has like 300 million less people.
Yes.
In Canada than the US. You know what I'm saying? The gun violence there, I think they said last year was 227 people murdered by guns. Excuse me, was it 228, something like that? And
nationwide. Nationwide,
yes,
that's
what they were saying
did in Baltimore this year.
That's what I was going to say.
Check it. But the stabbings were close to that. Yeah. The stabbings were only a few less than that. So everybody's gonna go get knives and swords and shit now, huh? I mean, it's like really insane, man. But all of that's gained because we know that 2 years ago they had their largest mass shooting in Nova Scotia, where I think 22 or 23 people were murdered, and then last week the police killed a man who had a pellet gun. So now, along with this whole gun mission they're talking about, they're saying they're banning replica guns as well. So all that shit is to douse the flames because of the fact that they know that right now with all the bullshit going on in the US, and he stated something to the fact that, we can just look south of the border to see, what will become of Canada, basically, if we don't, curb this whole gun situation. But I wanted to know you all's thoughts on y'all Canadian prince, because folks always, again, bigging up Canada and, they have free healthcare, and now Black folks around the country here in America, in the United States, are going to be talking this bullshit about, well, they need to do what Canada's doing. They need to snatch up all the guns. So I want to know you all's thoughts on that.
I'm against disarming. I made that position very clear. Like, it sucks that we live in a society where there's more guns than people, that guns are more valued and have more rights than women and poor people and Black and brown folks. But I think Canada is probably going to be able to get this passed. I mean, they do have a big gun and hunting culture, but it's more hunting culture. I know Canada is violent and racist as fuck in that sense, but when you go to Canada, it's really nice. It's nice. It's very clean. And I have bopped around Toronto quite a bit by myself, never felt worried or threatened, or never was confronted with any crime, and never saw any gun violence. Not to say that there isn't gun violence in Toronto and some of the bigger cities like Montreal and BC. I mean, in Vancouver, but they might be able to do this because, again, Canada likes to think of itself as better than the US. So whereas there is no political action surrounding guns or gun control here in the US, just to be contrarian to America, Canada will probably actually get something passed, maybe along the lines of, like you said, gun buyback program. And I think Canadians will probably participate in that because, again, they like to look down at their nose at the US like we're not these bigger crackers. We crackers, but we not as bigger crackers as America. But I don't know. I think something will happen. I think they will be able to get some sort of political movement. But in the US, I am against Black people disarming voluntarily. Don't do that. Hold on to your shit. Hold on to your shit because you might need it coming up.
I mean, to me, I largely agree with what Kim is saying there, but I mean, to me, it's all smoke and not even smoke and mirrors. It's just all fantasy. If the war machine of the United States and all the manufacturing, all this weapons is not dealt with. Absolutely. So, I mean, if to Emma's point, if the police and the military have all this weaponry, if I was just looking, if roughly 3 gun manufacturers produce almost all the guns in this country and so much of what gets exported around the world. I mean, there's too much money for them to make, and the idea that we should deal with it at the citizen disarming level and not at the mass production of millions of guns a year level. That's absurd. So and then to your point, look, I get it. There's no head up military conflict that anybody is going to win. But at the same time, I would never advocate that anybody disarm themselves in this context. So
no doubt. I want to point out too, because I just said something about the stabbings and shootings in Canada, right? I was talking about the number of stabbing deaths and shooting deaths in Canada. So, I mean, I'm talking about murder. It's not about whether you have a knife, a club. George Floyd didn't die from a gun, but he still was murdered by the police. You know what I'm saying? This is not a comparison of that. I'm simply saying that it was probably like 40 less deaths from stabbings than it was from guns, right? So if a person's going to quote unquote commit crime or want to murder or whatever the case is, they're going to use whatever means they can, whether it's cyanide or rifle, whatever the hell we talking about using. So that's not my point. But at the same time, we talk about gun manufacturers here in the United States. We also have to look at some of the reports we gave early in the year when we talked about how a lot of these trains were stopping in different cities and they were mysteriously left unlocked and people broke in and took all kinds of rifles and guns and so on and so forth. And then at some of the military depots where they had they weren't properly checking in the weapons, so on and so forth. So it's not just buying the guns from from a certified a licensed arm dealer. We're talking about the fact that they're saying that it's over 400 million guns here. Now in Canada, of course, all of that shit is game, it's political. Like you said earlier, Kim, it's like, we're not the same white folks as them. Come up north. We're not crackers, we're Quakers. Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? We're quackers. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's stop with the games and the shenanigans. Right. Because the unfortunate thing with us is when we don't have a proper analysis and not clear about what's going on, anything to do. We'll be running around talking about hands up, don't shoot, as if Asada didn't get shot when she had her hands up. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this is not, it ain't a new thing, as Gil Scott-Heron would say. So we got to cut the bullshit and we got to get to the bottom of it. We live in a vicious, very violent society that came about through their God, and their God meaning guns, oil, and drugs. That's all these motherfuckers are concerned about. That's the only God. When they say in God we trust, it's guns, oil, and drugs. It's domination, destruction, and death. That's what it's all about. It's about conquering. This is the history of these people. It's not like, all of a sudden, the citizens are just losing their mind. They've been taught well. I mean, this is how it's like with your children. If you run around cursing all the time and you say you want to fight and all of this shit all the time, how do you think they're going to solve conflict? That's the same way. And unfortunately, the citizens of the United States are children of the establishment. And they see these motherfuckers going around the world, conquering and destroying and forming coups and so on and so forth. So, cut the bullshit. Fuck what Trudeau's talking about. He's just as criminal as the rest of these bastards. You know what I'm saying? He just has a nicer suit on.
Toronto is nice though. Shout out to Toronto. Toronto's gorgeous. I recommend Toronto very highly, and they have outstanding international cuisine in Toronto. Toronto's like a much nicer New York. I love Toronto. Yeah. Toronto's pretty.
Yeah, Toronto is pretty, and I agree. We had an interesting experience at the hotel, but that's not Toronto's fault.
Oh, but they still crackers up there. Don't get it fucked up. They will cracker it up. You know what I mean?
Now, Trudeau, I'll be impressed with him if he says he's going to put the power back in the hands of the natives who originally ran that land, who were there from the start. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about the casino Indians. I'm talking about the natives who preserve the land and who fight for who fight for the planet. You know what I'm saying? So if he's talking about that, then I'm all for it. But otherwise, like, miss me with that bullshit.
Yeah.
Definitely today at noon, you want to check us out because I'm sure that the Ruba and the Jamu will absolutely deliver when we talk about this issue of gun control and all this other bullshit that's going on.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, there was a recent siege over the past few months out in British Columbia, and unfortunately, I cannot recall the name of the tribe, but the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, were obstructing entrance and exits from this tribal homeland. And it came into a armed conflict between the indigenous nation and the Canadian police, and they're still very much on that colonization bullshit, like, and keep natives contained on that bullshit. Don't believe the hype with Canada. And the Toronto police and the Ontario Provincial Police, the OPP, which is the funniest name ever for a police agency, the OPP, known for fucking niggas up, So yeah, don't let Canada fool you with that friendly, we nice crackers. No.
That's right.
We're not down with that OPP.
We're not down with that OPP.
Definitely ain't down. I ain't down with nobody's OPP. But anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I was really never down with OPP, despite the,
But it was a bop though.
The track was crazy.
I'm down with FTP. You down with FTP? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, you know
me. We roll with around these parts.
We should do it. You should set up that remix.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Speaking
FTP,
of that,
I can explain it. I take it frame by frame it. You see the pigs, nope, saying it. F is for fuck, T is for the police. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There it is.
Kim just auditioned
you got
for
it
the remix. Hey, we here now. Oh, speaking of that, shout out to FTP. 18-year anniversary next week, June 9th. 18-year anniversary of FTP movement. You know what I'm saying? We rolling hard. Shout out to all the comrades and CIFUs.
Wait a minute.
At work. Yes.
So June 5th is my 18th wedding anniversary.
Whoa.
Okay. So that's pretty synced up.
4 days afterwards, we like, you know what I'm saying? We doing this for Jared. We was like, we'll always love Big Jared.
And don't forget, Ronald Reagan died during my wedding.
Ronald Reagan definitely died during your wedding. So FTP will be on June 5th. Fuck the president. You know what I'm saying? In honor of Ronald Reagan and Jared's anniversry. You know what I mean?
Was that like the best wedding gift? Did all the glasses go up in unison?
I did. When the news broke, I did turn to everybody and say, let's raise a glass for I forgot exactly what I said, but I said, like, let's raise a glass. It was a definite a quick toast.
Well, we toasted your wedding without even knowing it. We toasted your wedding without knowing it. You did?
Yeah.
I don't know if
I was like, we
on the show.
We were his last. That was it for him. He was like, they're getting married. Ugh.
Jared Hinckley Jr. finally got the job done. Anyway, only on the Remix Morning Show.
Anybody reach out to John Hinckley with that interview request? Don't we want to talk to John Hinckley?
Man,
you know what? That's my bad. I meant to follow up on that. I do want to follow up on that and be like, there's still a signing Catcher in the Rye in public schools all throughout the country. How do you feel about that, John?
Wow.
Interesting.
Hey, anyway. he's like, well, they don't have any air conditioning, so the hell.
No, they probably do. I bet he does have air conditioning. I bet he did have air conditioning.
Oh, he's good. Matter of fact, he's out now, right?
Oh,
I'm saying, but even when he was in, I bet he had air conditioning.
Yes.
And
you know, he's making music TV. And shit now.
Music. He's like, he's a painter. Like he's a very Renaissance man, Renaissance white man. Look what you can do when they let white men who would try to assassinate presidents, let them out of jail. It's amazing.
Let them survive.
That's right.
Survive, first of all.
That's impressive.
Very.
Anyway, shout out to Sundiata. Sundiata's free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sundiata Kohli. We're glad to know that. You know, after 49 years, 85 years old. I must admit, for those of you who have been following political prisoners and supporting political prisoner work for decades, certain people you would never have imagined coming out. Sundiata is one of them. We was yelling free them all, and we was fighting, but at the same time, there was such a time when no one was getting out. You know what I'm saying? Now we have Sekou out. Now we have Jalil out. You know what I'm saying? Sundiata, members of MOVE, so on and so forth. So we're going to keep that momentum going. And that is why when folks tell us, well, you know, he probably did it, or they come with the bullshit, they ain't going to let you out if you accused of killing such and such. Fuck you. Get up out of here. Keep on fighting. Never give up on your fighters. There's no civilized country in the world that will give up on their freedom fighters, that will give up on their soldiers. So make sure that you all continue to support the work of the political prisoners.
That's what's up. Yeah,
that part.
Right on. So look, we got some more stories we can get to here this morning with as we struggle through our ear doctor list.
I was about to say, y'all. I'm like, isn't it time for an ear doctor break? Isn't it time for the artist?
We might have to do an ear doctor skit. Y'all want to do an ear doctor skit?
We should do a top five real quick. Let's do a top five real quick.
Do a top five. Jared, can you spin us out when we come back and do an ear doctor skit and name some shit that don't and have a disagreeable top five?
I don't know. Let's think about it real quick.
Disagreeable top five.
In honor of the ear doctor's top five, we're gonna come up with 5 things that that we all would disagree on. How about that?
Let's rank them top 5 Thundercats. Let's go.
Top 5 Thundercats. I already lost because I only know they black, yellow. I'm thinking about transform. I don't know what the hell I'm thinking about. Anyway, let's go ahead and roll on out real quick and come on back in a second. Will we be doing a break, or we just gonna go straight on?
I
was jiving on.
I'm gonna hit this. You know what? I'm gonna jump in here. Let's take a quick transition. Come back, get some more stories here. Remix Morning Show.
That makes more sense. Bang.
Boom. And we back.
Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again.
All right, back here to Remix Morning Show, the ear doctorless morning show.
Struggle right. Morning show. Struggle.
The struggle.
Hey man, it's a great thing today.
So, I mean, real quick. There is one story that wasn't on our run sheet that I saw was sent me this morning that I admit resonates powerfully with me for a number of reasons. Professor Mark McPhail, who is a former communications professor at Indiana University Northwest in Gary, Indiana, was fired for criticizing his administration and discussing racism, and is therefore suing in response to. So there's the I won't go through all the details. There's a back and forth that he had with his dean, with administration over policy, procedure, how they were hiring, were they giving people equal opportunity, where was the diversity, so on and so forth. But where it de-escalated or escalated or devolved, I should say, it says here, things came to a head when McPhail attempted to defend himself against the dean's characterization of his performance. The dean said that because McPhail had attempted to, quote, shift the blame, he would recommend that the university suspend McPhail from teaching and reduce his salary by 75%. Damn. IU Northwest executive vice chancellor agreed, and they did just that. The situation got even stranger after McPhail attempted to appeal that decision. McPhail's complaint alleges that the day after he appealed, IU terminated his employment by sending police to his home with a termination letter. The reason the university gave for its drastic action was that McPhail made, quote, a threat of physical violence by saying words to the effect that the only way to end racism is to kill all white people.
Is that what he said?
Well, he says that he didn't say anything to that effect.
I believe that.
I do believe that. What I also agree with, and I appreciate with being included in this story, is that even if he had, he would have been protected under the First Amendment. So that should not have been a fireable offense, even if he had done it. But I only really, it obviously, the story resonates with me for a number of reasons because of the similarities in terms of the struggles with administration, and the response and the creation of false claims, not so much in my own personal experience, but that I've seen with others. And then somewhat similar to what the experience I had this weekend, the ability to put a claim on somebody and have that deflect against the more righteous concerns that they're raising, without that claim being vetted or supportable or provable. So and it's just, and then lastly, just to point out that a lot of people not in the academy, I think, understandably have misconceptions about the freedom and power that faculty have, when in reality, even when tenured, especially in today's climate, everything's up in the air. It's a lot more precarious a situation than people realize. And having even been somewhat familiar with a few of Dr. McPhail's contributions to the field, like I've read some of his work, just to see this happen is disturbing. So anyway, that's it.
It's crazy about it when you said McPhail, Mark McPhail, in police. Mark McPhail was actually the name of the cop who they accused Troy Davis of murdering. So when you said Mark McPhail, I immediately went to him, and I'm thinking, I'm like, what did he do? And then I'm like, wait, I thought he was dead. So yeah, so that's actually the cop that they accused Troy Anthony Davis of.
Right. Okay, wow. No, yeah.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But speaking about, how academia, it's not all in is it ivory tower or ivy tower? I don't know what the phraseology is.
Yeah,
the ivory tower. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how Harvard was putting Dr. West through all that drama. Was it Harvard or Yale? Where did Cornell teach at?
Harvard,
yes. Harvard took Cornell West through all that bullshit. Cornell West, like that is the face of Black academia, right? I mean, I'm sorry, my bad, Jared. I mean, after you.
No, he is, sure.
And they put the Cornell through all them changes. So, I know all other Black academics not named Cornell West are absolutely subjected and liable to be facing way more bullshit than what Cornell West went through publicly with Harvard. So, and Northwest Indiana, woo! You want to talk about Crackerville? Shout out to East Chicago. Shout out to Gary. But Northwest Indiana is clanny, very clanny.
Look, I've shared this before, but I had I was invited a couple years ago to Gary, Indiana, and the brother that took me around, Brother Bullock, shout out to you. I remember being shown literally like the county the white folks created right next door once Gary got too Black and they wanted to get away. So like Gary is like this depressed, total, like emptied out. I mean, it's like a bombed out city, and no disrespect. And then you can literally look down the street, drive like a block, and then all of a sudden here's all the stores and all the fun. You can just feel the money. It's like you drove from black and white into color. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, it's crazy. So that whole area, anyway. Shout out to
it's
him.
Ill that that's where the Jacksons came from. You know what I'm saying? And the DeBarges, whatever. DeBarges from Gary as well, or what?
No,
the
DeBarges
I don't remember.
Detroit. They from Detroit. They from Michigan.
The other Gary.
From Lansing, but I think they're from Michigan. Well, but the Rust Belt has put out some all-time Negro all-stars, though. The Rust Belt, out of all that poverty and suffering, comes tremendous talent, immense talent. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of Gary. Reminds me of Bridgeport, where I'm from, and it reminds me of the whole Detroits and all of that type of stuff. These bombed out and depleted areas that we continue to exist in and live under, and it's just I don't know, man. Welcome to America. Welcome to the
I don't
United
know.
States.
Dealing with the real said Northwest Indiana is the most liberal. That was not my experience, my guy. And granted, I was not out there very long. I was in East Chicago for several days, out there reporting about the EPA Superfund site that they built an entire housing project and schools and shit right on top of, affecting primarily Black and Latino people. But no, I mean, it is very segregated from what I saw. And I don't know, Indiana just does not strike me as Negro friendly at all. Like, I'm sure Indianapolis is probably cool. What's the town in Indiana that's across the river from Kentucky that you got to go? I can't remember what it's called, but the rest of Indiana look hostile. It feels Klan hostile. It feels
That's the
very
birthplace, the
Midwest
origins.
Klan hostility. It feels hostile. So I don't know, dealing with the real. Maybe I went to the wrong parts of Indiana. Got to take me to the Negro areas where Shirley is. Yeah, take me around Shirley. I bet you got some good barbecue spots out by where Shirley is. Let's go.
What I want you to do, though, Kim, wherever you do go, Kim, and everybody else, please stay off the streets when driving, probably anywhere around Napa or maybe the entire state of California, because Nancy Pelosi's husband might be drunk and driving and causing problems for you. So just be careful out there, Kim, wherever you do end up going.
Drunk white folks.
Because Nancy Pelosi's husband, who's denying it or pushing back hard, this story says, apparently crashed up a car at a Jeep while drinking and driving after a dinner party. But it says here, instead of taking responsibility for it, the 82-year-old businessman and millionaire spokesperson Larry Kamer took aim at incorrect information in mysterious news. So incorrect information, is that the Democrats' version of fake news? Is that what they say when it's
that's the Pelosi. That's when you have kente cloth on and you're kneeling, you know what I'm saying? So you can say right. That makes it sound
better. Involved in a crash after a dinner party, allegedly hit Pelosi's flashy 2021 Porsche. This article is hating hard on the Pelosi's, boy. That's funny. Definitely Pelosi was subsequently charged with 2 misdemeanors, including driving while having a blood alcohol level of 0.08. Oh,
misdemeanor. How's that a misdemeanor? That sound like legally drunk.
Because he was leaving communion, Kim. Communion wine in Napa Valley. Y'all trying to diss the man like y'all ain't know he was in Napa Valley. You know what I'm saying? Getting some of that good communion wine, and he tapped the Porsche up. That's all.
See,
this is my favorite line though, right here. Despite Speaker Pelosi frequently taking issue with the personal matters regarding former President Donald Trump, she said she wouldn't be commenting on her husband's DUI. I think that's funny.
Whoa. I wonder who supported that particular. And that's Yahoo.
Hey, by the way, that reminds me, again, not a spoiler alert, but that reminds me of what happens with We Own This City. They do, in that Simon speechifying, they do, part of what they do is try to put this all on Trump's policies of pulling back the reins of oversight on the police and praising Obama, and then they point out that Trump took away what Obama had created, and now that's why we got what we got. And I was like, yo, it is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Shout out to drunk ass Mr. Pelosi.
Now this is what pisses me off about moneyed white folks. This is why I want, if there is a book to be thrown at Mr. Pelosi, throw the whole fucking book at his ass. Because can you imagine having the kind of money that the Pelosi's have, which I imagine is probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars? Their overall net worth is got to be high. It's up there. Why are you 82 years old, drunk and driving yourself? Like, how come rich people don't know how to be rich?
On top of that,
you gonna drive?
Who else is going to drive that flashy Porsche?
Right, my driver.
You know what? I mean, honestly,
the designated driver, the non-drunk person, the non-octogenarian who is more suitable to drive this wealthy person around.
For me, I despise drunk drivers. Mm-hmm. I can't stand a fucking drunk driver. I live in Atlanta, and there's so many crashes, and at any given time, I mean, it's like I see a car flipped over maybe once or twice a month. You know what I'm saying? Either on 285, 85, or 75. And it's like, I mean, I really despise drunk drivers. And you have some of these motherfuckers just speeding and going all crazy, 110, 120, 140 miles an hour, 160 miles an hour, drunk. I mean, honestly, like, I'm cool with drunk drivers getting their ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? It's like snatch them out, beat the shit out of them, beat them till they sober. That's how I feel. Not the police, but the people themselves. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, fuck Mr. Pelosi.
I would absolutely, if I ever were to come into real money, I would even hire a car service or a driver before buying a better house. Like, that's how much I don't like driving already and would want to get rid of that, you know. So I would happily be like, man, please just take me somewhere, you know,
man, listen,
and please
you lived in Atlanta, man. Because
let me get my cocktails and not have to drive, sit in the back and chill.
Imagine you having Pelosi money and driving yourself around. Like, what in the fuck?
That insider trading.
Well, you know, the thing is, they doing so much dirt. They're doing so much dirt. They're trying to, you know, make sure that, look, I don't want you motherfuckers to know how dirty I'm rolling, just in case you want to flip the script. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably what it is.
Them NDAs.
Sign that NDA. Yeah, sign that NDA. Get the little divider in the car. Put the little button. Push the little thing. Go up. I'll be the bad boy. You couldn't tell me nothing. Yeah, man. Where's Jared? In the back of his car
with the partition up. With the partition
up. Hey, let me catch you rolling through the hood with a driver and whatnot. I'm gonna jack the driver, throw him out, and I'm gonna be driving. You ain't gonna know I'm driving.
I probably wouldn't.
What more money?
I probably would. Wow, did we hit a bump?
Exactly. You definitely gonna be hitting some bumps. I'm flying, especially if it's a Porsche too. I might get drunk to drive your ass. No, I'm joking. But anyway.
Oh wow,
you good? Anyway,
I appreciate it.
What
Kim, I got you in the story here.
Yeah, I'm reading the story, and it's you know, guys, I mean, just to keep it all the way a buck, we don't do the greatest job when it comes to shit about gender and LGBTQ issues, and some of that could be because of generational, some of that could be for a variety of reasons, but this story caught my eye because it's I won't say it's viral, but the reasons why people are excited that this young man was able to beat his charge, I think, is a little troubling and problematic. So the headline reads, ex-Virginia Tech football player Issy Meeman Etute acquitted of why did the pop-up ad pop up right? I wasn't reading, you dick. Acquitted in mistaken gender identity murder of Tinder date. So this young man who obviously used to play football for Virginia Tech, the former Virginia Tech football player accused of beating a Tinder date to death after mistaking him for a woman, was acquitted of second-degree manslaughter on Friday. Mr. Etute, 19, was found not guilty in the 2021 death of Jerry Smith, aged 40, after his lawyer argued that he acted in self-defense. A Christiansburg, Virginia jury deliberated for 3 hours before handing down the verdict, according to the Roanoke Times. Etute said that he had visited Smith last April to engage in oral sex after matching with someone named Angie on Tinder. The next month, this is, I think, which is important. The next month, he returned to the victim's apartment to verify his gender. The linebacker then groped Smith before allegedly beating him to death, a detective testified. Etute took the stand in his own defense earlier this week and said that he felt, quote, violated that his date lied about his gender. The defendant said that Smith had insisted that they meet in the dark and had reached for what he thought was a gun. Etute testified that he punched Smith 5 times and kicked him to escape the apartment. So, hold on, let me just wrap this up here. Police said that Smith did not have a gun, but detectives found a knife under his mattress. Defense attorney Jimmy Turk argued that Etute acted in self-defense and his fear of the victim's weapon were not considered by police. Prosecutor Patrick Jensen argued that Smith was in no position to get his knife and said that the 153-pound man was no physical match for the, quote, elite college athlete who was listed at 6'3", 205 pounds. That's a big disparity, Jensen said. Police say that Smith did not. Oh, I said that already. So I wanted to get you guys' take on this because this is a really kind of fucked up story for the simple fact that this obviously was a homophobic attack, and I understand that the accused former football player claims that he did not know the gender of the person that he had an encounter with. But my issue from a legal perspective is why did you come back to confront the person, right? You would not have been charged with any crime and this person would still have their life if you would have just kept it moving. You came back to this man's or this individual's apartment to confront them, to basically, act out some sort of homophobic rage, it would seem. And you took a person's life and now you've been acquitted for that. And I don't know the race of the victim. Unfortunately, I don't know that. But and if the chat has some details they'd like to share, please do so. But I know this is a concern, I think, of straight guys, heterosexual guys, men who present as cisgender, that they're afraid that a trans person is going to somehow trick them or manipulate them into sex, or maybe on the far extreme of that paranoia, force them into sex somehow. But this was a Tinder date. This was something that both parties mutually agreed upon. And I guess it could be argued that the football player did not agree to perhaps meet with a trans person. I don't know. It's a little complicated, but I think you come back to somebody's house and beat them to death. I think there might be some jail. You might need to go inside that cell for a little bit.
Well, first of all, I would just want to say that even if you don't come back and you just find out at the moment and beat the person to death, that like you're just is a problem. I don't think any of this excuses the violence. So whether the person lied or was shady about hiding their identity or not, they didn't deserve that. I've also been under the belief, and maybe things have changed. I've been out of the game for a long time, but I've always also just believed that, first of all, to your point, there is this running theme among cis het men of this somewhat joking fear that I'm gonna run into and I'm gonna get her back home and put my hand down there and I'm gonna grab it. There's been a whole bunch of comedy routines about it and all of that. So I know it's a, but I've always thought, and with potentially one exception, I've always thought it was easy once particularly you got close to recognize what was happening and that nobody would be confused at the point of sexual intimacy, to the point where they could claim, oh my God, I was so shocked that out of terror and fear and shock, I had to murder the person. Mm-hmm. Now I will years ago when I was in the Navy, a lot of drinking, we used to, go to a lot of wild spots. And one night we went and we did go looking to pick up sex workers. Mm-hmm. Meet a couple people, go back to the hotel, and it becomes clear that these are not women. I mean, it's just, up until that point, the darkness, the heavy intoxication, it just wasn't clear. Get back to the spot, realize that they're not women. And the only thing that I definitely remember saying was, something to the effect, I think you should make it more clear earlier. And that was it. And then I was like, we're out. Have a nice night and I'll see you all. And that was it. So in other words, so that was it. And it was never like, oh, you tricked me and now I feel bad and I went ahead and did something and now I need to come back. The last thing I would say is, if he felt really that bad after the fact, a month later, he should have just convinced himself, oh, no, that was a woman. And then just left it alone. And there was no need to go in that. But anyway, obviously this is, it's deeper than that. This is, clearly, seems clearly to me an issue of transphobia, a whole bunch of other issues this person's probably dealing with. And at no point does somebody deserve to be violently assaulted, even if there's been a lack of full disclosure as early as somebody might have wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my bad.
No, I was going. No, well, I thought Kalanji was gonna pop in. But
yeah, no,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm confused about the story itself. I'm just I must have missed how he was acquitted. I'm confused. I mean, it's like, especially coming back after a month. I mean, it's like, come on, dude. I mean, and I
he
agree.
got the lesser charges seem definitely about transphobia. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So he pled guilty to the lesser charge.
Well, he got. I think the story said he got convicted of second-degree murder instead of. In other words, he got a lesser charge. He got the lesser. He didn't get the first degree, I thought is what it said.
And this was Virginia. This is Virginia.
Yes, Christiansburg, Virginia.
Wow.
Which also, by the way, made me think that the victim must have been black.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, no, he was acquitted of second-degree murder.
Oh, he was acquitted. Wow.
Acquitted of second-degree murder. Was found not guilty in the 2021 death. After his lawyer argued he acted in self-defense, and this was a Christiansburg, Virginia jury, and they deliberated for 3 hours.
No, that's crazy. That has to be the victim has to be black, and it has to be about transphobia. There's no way. Actually, I'm sorry. I misheard you. I was even reading it.
Right.
I misread it. How could you get off
the
from
whole
that
response? Right. I was trying to.
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I don't. Man, I think that is. The story sounds crazy as hell. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I mean, it's just it's wild. I just don't even. Yeah. I mean, and especially coming back. I mean, beating someone to death for whatever reason is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy enough, but to I mean, a month later and he gets off, that's some wild shit. I mean, that's like, woo.
Because first degree murder, as my wife has explained, first degree murder, you get that if you have a moment, as she puts it, to turn over the crime in your head.
Right.
That's it. You don't. So that can be almost within seconds. You can get a first degree charge if you had just enough time to be like, I could leave. Now I'm gonna go ahead and kill this person. That's all it takes.
Right.
So for you to get a month.
Yeah. I mean, because just in Georgia, and I'm sure in other states as well, like if someone broke into your home and you catch them and they're trying to leave, you can't shoot them. You understand what I'm saying? Because of the fact that they're not posing a threat to you at that particular moment. Just because someone comes up, even though white folks will kill you all the time coming up on their property, it's not enough for you to just, to kill them. So like you said, to come back a month later, I mean, it's definitely premeditated. I would have been less confused if they tried to blame it on some type of mental breakdown or something, and that's why he came back or whatever the case was. But I mean, the story just sounds insane all the way around.
Well, it just goes to show you again how prevalent and deep the ways that transphobia present themselves, right? It presents itself in so-called straight men who are either engaging in sex acts with trans folks and then enraged or ashamed, embarrassed. I don't really know what the reasons, because when you look at the numbers, for example, the life expectancy numbers for Black trans women specifically, I think they have a life expectancy of like 34 years old. And the ways in which Black trans women specifically often die is via murder. So this is a very common thing to happen. And again, I don't know the race of the victim, but like you guys said, I would be inclined to think that they must be Black because there's absolutely no justice done for them. And then there's a transphobia within the system and then the society at large. For a jury to hear the facts that we just heard, to even if we may not know all the specifics and particulars, but to understand that the former football player returned back to the victim's apartment a month later and ended up beating them to death over this gender identity mistake. And the fact that this is not a crime, like it's apparently not a crime to beat a trans person to death in Virginia. It's something that you can be acquitted for. So when we see the prevalence of anti-trans bills in states across the country, denying trans children the opportunities just to be themselves. In the state of Texas, providing gender affirming care for your trans child akin to child abuse. It's important that we, as Black people, understand even within our marginalized group, there are other marginalized groups, and Black trans people are at danger. They are at risk from the state and from individuals all the time.
I don't mean to give dealing the real. You often are wrong in the chat, and I don't mean to give you more attention you deserve. But I feel like this is something that is prevalent in the conversation. So my answer, I already gave my answer. What the consequence for engaging in this kind of deception? None. You say, oh, I thought you were somebody else. My bad. And like I said, at least as far as I remember saying it years and years ago, you might want to let somebody know a little earlier. That's it. What do you mean consequence? So what are you suggesting, that people should be beaten to death? By the way, in thinking about the story again, the claim that he thought this person was reaching for a gun and therefore they were in danger. Again, as I've understood the law as it's been told to me, that doesn't give you once you self-defense does not exempt all forms of violence in all situations. So in other words, once a gun is seen not to exist, and once you're beating someone to the point where they're clearly not responding, you're not covered in killing them. Even if the initial thought was a claim of self-defense. So no, I mean, this is pretty much just and to Yipper's point, if the person was in fact white, then it reminds me. So after the exchange I had with old boy on the show yesterday, I was looking up some articles. One of the reasons why, according to some new studies, one of the reasons why whites overall have been reported to liking Black Americans more is only in juxtaposition to their hatred of Arabs and Latino immigrants. So my point is, I would argue something similar might be happening here, that in this case, this jury might have been thinking, as much as I hate Black people, in this particular moment, I hate trans folks more. And I'm gonna go ahead and let this football star athlete get away with killing a trans person, even if they were white. That would be my quick armchair psychological analysis of that. But anyway,
the other part is, guys, like, we have to make it normal and okay for straight presenting men to be open if they like trans women. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do, like, these trans women be pulling dudes, okay? Like, they pull dudes, they get niggas out here, make no mistake about it. Somebody like it, lots of them like it. And I think it's important that we have to make that normal and okay for straight men to present a trans partner, or to be okay with being public or upfront if they have if their sexual preferences include trans women. You know what I'm saying? This is not new. this ain't new with men messing with so-called girly boys. That's what they call them in Thailand. You know what I'm saying? And for example, Richard Pryor was very open and honest about being in a relationship with a trans woman for a long time. So we have to sort of decouple the homophobia and the transphobia and make these brothers understand that if you like trans women, that's cool, man. Like, you don't have to go and beat the shit out of her, or beat your chest, talk about, I'm not gay, I'm not the F word, I'm not this. No, like, dudes like trans women out here, okay? Like, we have to normalize that. And make brothers understand that they can come out and admit that, and not be called F words and derogatory slurs.
I think people who are into whatever they're into should be honest with themselves. Truth. But at the same time, I mean, I don't think that how do I say this? I'm not for me, I consider myself a human rights activist. You know what I mean? So when I'm fighting for our people, I don't differentiate on your gender. I don't differentiate on on your race, because of the fact that I'm against oppression. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So of whatever form. Now, whatever these cats is out there into, man, what you eat don't make me use the bathroom. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that anyone should be if you are concerned about certain things and someone's telling you they're insisting on not turning the lights on or whatever the case that you're saying, then you might want to either turn the lights on or don't be there.
Pull your
You know
pants
what I'm
up.
saying?
Go home.
Yeah. Or have a relationship, get to know whoever you're trying to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And not just, because I mean, the reality is, it's a whole lot of shit going on out here, period. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of your gender or whatever the case is. So it's a dangerous society we living in already, aside from all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just dangerous to exist as a human, especially as a Black person or indigenous person in this country. This story to me is it's insane, because I mean, I'm inclined to believe that if it took you a whole month to decide that you were going to go do something like this, you were struggling with some issues within yourself. There's something going on.
I'm not even so sure his boys didn't find out and were like,
no. Well, I mean, but whatever the case is, even with that, even if I don't know what the circumstances was and all that. I'm just hearing about the story. So regardless if someone laughed at you or it was just you or whatever the case is, it's like, dude, man, like, like I don't even understand how you got the fuck off. That's just, I mean, I'm still
crazy.
stuck on
You're
that.
Right.
I'm still stuck on that part, regardless of whatever. I don't, whatever you're into, however you feel, you know what I'm saying? I don't care how you get down, as long as it's not oppressive towards me and mine. You understand what I'm saying? Your personal thing, it's like what Malcolm said. He said when he talked about religion, he said, go in the closet, put your religion on the shelf. When you come out swinging. You know what I'm saying? We get caught up in, again, the sidetracking of the slave. Like, where's the balance? What are you trying to do here? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm saddened to hear that someone lost their life because, an individual wasn't either honest with himself or he was going through whatever the hell he was going through. Because there's no, I don't see the justification in it. I really don't.
So, good people, in the last 20 minutes we have this morning, let me offer up a buffet of items for us to consider. Given where we are, I don't know. We got a story about Uvalde. We got a story about Master P. We got a story about the NFL. Talk about old recurring themes. We got a story about Bakari Sellers.
I think we should. I think that Uvalde story is important, and I'm saying that because all the things that have been uncovered over the past few days and how cowardice the police have been is criminal in and of itself.
So this is the title is What We Know Minute by Minute about how the Uvalde shooting and police response unfolded, and I'll just scroll through it, and you all can say what anything you like. But it's got the timeline going back to September 2021, where the shooter asks for help in buying a gun before turning 18. And whoever this she is refuses.
I think it was his aunt,
his sister.
Oh, is that what it? Oh, it is, right. His sister. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, I missed that part. Yep, thank you.
Yeah.
What piece is this? What publication is this in?
This is in the Texas Tribune.
Okay.
Renee Oxner, May 27th, just a couple days ago.
So basically, I mean, to add on to what you're saying, Governor Greg Abbott, no relation to Gregory Abbott. Girl, I want to shake you down. No relation to him. You know what I'm saying? But his punk ass and the Texas Department of Public Safety decided to walk back their initial statements because they were claiming all of this shit that was contradictory to what happened. And we're talking about an hour and 15 minutes that this guy was inside of this school, and parents actually begging for police to go in. I know a couple cops went in allegedly. One was grazed or some shit, and they ended up pushing out, or pulling out. But this is a timeline, and I think it's important that we should go through it. I don't know if you want to read a few of the joints.
Sure. I mean, this one was interesting. From March 14th, the gunman makes Instagram post. The gunman makes an Instagram post with the caption 10 more days. A user comments, "Are you going to shoot up the school or something?" And the shooter responds, "No, and stop asking dumb questions. You'll see."
Was there an incident where he allegedly killed a family pet?
I didn't see that, but
I didn't see that either.
Yeah,
because it's not on this timeline, at least, because it just goes from the Instagram to the purchasing of guns to the day of the shooting.
Right. So, I mean, I know that he had been talking about it. He had tried to get a gun. I don't know, for almost a year. He started with trying to ask his sister about it, and she refused. That was September 2001. 21. And then he finally was able to. He had been posting Instagram posts talking about how something big was going to go down in 10 days. And he had been back and forth with a number of different people on it. He expressed interest in purchasing a gun. And then finally he said he got one. And I believe that was how many days before that? I think 4 days before. Yeah. Between a week and 4 days, the 16th through the 20th. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he finally got, I think he got a AR on one day, and then an AR on the 20th.
2 AR platform rifles.
Yes.
375 rounds of 5.56 caliber.
Yeah.
Ammunition.
And some righteous questions are being asked about how this 18-year-old had thousands of dollars to purchase these brand new weapons and all this ammunition.
Right.
That is a good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty good question, because those are not cheap rifles.
No, not at all. Not at all. And he bought them 2 days apart. But the thing he talked about too, in that timeline, they were talking about how he was is this the same joint I'm thinking about? There's so many similarities between this and the case in Buffalo.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of mixing some things. So I'm trying to run through this timeline and make sure I'm not saying the whole thing, getting it wrong. But the crazy shit was there were children. The children inside the school probably made about 6 phone calls to the police. These are 2nd to 4th graders, I believe.
I think they were all I think all the victims were in 4th grade.
These are 4th graders making calls to the police, begging them to have the police come in. There's one case, one of the girls said, "I can hear the police next door. Please have them." I mean, they were pleading for help. These are children.
Wait, I didn't know this part. So the police, I missed this. The police enter the school at 11:35, which is only 2 minutes after the shooter, and then they retreat.
Yes.
Right.
Well, the lies began first. Greg Abbott and the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety on last Tuesday, because it's been a week. I know it feels like it's been a month already since the shooting, but it happened a week ago today. And they said that initially Ramos was confronted by a school resource officer, an armed school resource officer. And 2 days later, they changed that story. Now, how the fuck do you get that wrong? You know what I mean? I mean, that's a big detail to misremember or mistranscribe. No, y'all didn't get that wrong. Then they try to put it on the teacher. Teacher propped open the door. Right now, it's the fucking door's fault. The door was unlocked, and it's like, dog, y'all spend 40% of the Uvalde city budget goes to the Uvalde Police Department. There's no reason why 4 cops saw this man walk into a school building armed, and he was allowed to just post up for an hour, huh?
But Kim, wait till we find out that they propped the door open because the air conditioning wasn't working.
Oh my God.
That's gonna be the next one. But the shit is crazy too, because even before that story, that lie, Kim, there was a lie that they chased them to the school. They chased him, he crashed, and he
wow.
got out and he ran inside the school. But now they're saying that a teacher had actually called the police and said she saw a man, he or she saw a man out there with a rifle. Now
at 11:30,
right.
That teacher calls 911. Yep.
Right. Shouldn't there be an announcement on the intercom saying, "Hey, there's somebody with a rifle, lock the damn doors"? I mean, that would be the first.
Well, at 11:43, there was a post to Facebook about the school and warning people not to, So it took,
the police and the school posted it.
Yeah. Robb Elementary announces on Facebook. Yep.
Right. Yeah. And then the police announced the same thing, and then they were saying that there was an active shooter in the area. So they didn't even acknowledge that he was actually inside of the building.
And the crazy thing, there's a lot. Tragically, there are so many crazy things about this story. There was a press conference. Again, there's been a bunch of pressers, and at every single opportunity, law enforcement has managed to change the story. Every time they get in front of microphones and reporters, a detail that they had previously reported changes. Something changed. And one of the things that they admitted was that 2 months prior, I think it was 2 months ago, that there was actually an active shooter drill held at Robb Elementary School. So for when the actual active shooter comes to the school, all of a sudden the police don't know what to do. There's 19 of them stacked up in the hallway. And the McGraw, who was the head of the Texas DPS, got up there and said, "Yeah, we had plenty of officers who could have went in. All Texas law enforcement participates in these active shooter trainings."
Parents were begging them to go in.
And you saw it, Kalonji. I hope you guys all saw those videos. Somebody need to put their phone on vibrate. Y'all ain't that goddamn popular.
But it's not me. Nobody calls me.
Nobody calling me either.
Right.
However, that was my phone.
Yeah, you didn't chirp anyway. But the other crazy part, and again, there's so many crazy parts. They recently had an active shooter training, and obviously that training just went out the window. And the other aspect about this was what that I can remember. Oh, the fact that they claimed that they couldn't figure out how to get the door open to the classroom when they just had to go to the janitor and actually physically just go get the keys. To actually make entrance into the classroom. I don't believe, number one, that Ramos killed himself. Pardon me. I don't believe that they killed Ramos. I need to see whose bullet actually killed him, because everything that they have told has been a lie. There was an armed school resource officer not there. Ramos
they said it was border patrol. They said it was a border cop that killed him.
Yeah, I need to see that autopsy, Shawty. Right. I need to know what the ballistic.
A border patrol killing a Latino. That computes.
Yeah,
that does fit.
And he had a truck full of bricks where he was about to build a wall right at the moment.
How about?
He's like, we knew this shit was going down.
They had Biden's border wall.
These motherfuckers are crazy.
Their truck.
But the thing is, and I want to point out, because I think someone in the chat asked about the intercom thing. The shooter, when the teacher spotted him, according to them, the dude was just walking up into the parking lot with the gun. So for me, we have a choice here. What's taking place is what is it, like 21 dead?
Yes.
At the end of that, 21 dead. We have a choice to go for broke and try to get these damn doors locked first, and then worry about everything else. Because he entered the school when he was inside the school for what, like an hour and a half. He could have did a whole lot more damage. It's a miracle, and it's a blessing that was the only amount of children that were murdered. Not that that's not necessarily a blessing, but it's just, he could have did a lot more damage with 356 rounds or 375 rounds and two rifles. Come on, so we have to. I think the police are definitely cowards, because you have all these fucking cops, and there was different ways that they could have handled this shit, man. And
but are they arguing? I haven't followed this closely enough, but are the police claiming that they were following procedure and that they didn't want to rush in and risk further injury? What are they claiming?
So as of Friday, Steve McGraw, who's the head of the Texas Department of Public Safety, admitted that mistakes were made. and that should officers have gone in, he said yes, they should have gone in. But then he tried to distance himself by saying, he said, well, I wasn't there. He said, I wasn't there.
Right.
And the commanding, and it's being laid at the feet of the commanding officer on the scene, who I believe they're saying was the chief of the Uvalde unified, consolidated school district. Because, by the way, Uvalde school district has its own police force of armed officers. They have a chief and everything. So Steve McGraw from Texas DPS says that, I believe that what I'm understanding is that the chief of police for the school district was the commanding officer on scene, and it was at their discretion that officers did not enter. But the other part about this that was so appalling were the ways in which parents were treated outside of the school.
Absolutely.
Because parents, there was lots of, Facebook video, internet videos floating around of parents screaming, pleading, demanding for cops to go inside. And for some parents who wanted to go in themselves, and from what I understand, one mother actually did, she was handcuffed. And I don't know whether or not they took the handcuffs off of her or if she escaped her handcuffs. But she was handcuffed, and then she was not handcuffed, and she ran into the school and retrieved her 2 children. And parents were being handcuffed. They were being pepper sprayed. I've seen some reports say that the officers who were harassing the parents and keeping the parents back were, in fact, federal officers, not Uvalde police. I'm not able to confirm that. But the fact that these pussy cops going to stand outside while these children are being slaughtered and then have the audacity to turn all that energy onto frantic and terrified parents just goes to show you the absolute emotional and empathetic disconnect that police have from the rest of the community.
Right. And to Manny Now's point, I taught in public school system in Connecticut for 9.5 years. And indeed, there are codes and there's ways to let folks know what's going on without letting them know what's going on. In most cases, you won't even want the panic to happen. It can be something as simple as some type of drill saying, look, we got code red, whatever, blase, blah, and keep it moving or whatever the case, not necessarily code red, whatever the code might be. But I just couldn't imagine in good spirit, being there and these bastards trying to stop me from going inside this building to retrieve my child. Not when it's an hour and a half. I got too many folks I can call, and we can definitely I can guarantee your ass you be more concerned with a whole lot of shit than me going in there trying to stop this, because I and that's not no tough guy shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just, this shows you the level of insanity that these motherfuckers operate under. Because and I heard some story, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I did hear a story of one of the officers going in and getting their children.
Yes.
I don't know if that was factual.
What?
That was reported. Yes.
Listen,
The
ain't no way in this green earth you gonna tell me that I can't. If your ass is too fucking scared to go in there and get them, in the mortal words of Imam Jamil, if you scared to go get them, tell me and I go get them. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm also just wondering, how is it possible to just get only your children?
Because honestly, it's like, man, that's just
like, what does that look like? Only you two come with me. The rest of
them.
Oh
my God!
Like, how does that work? I don't. Anyway, I don't.
Listen.
But Kalanji, to your point though, so I when you say that there should be a code or some sort of announcement made if there is an active shooter on premises, unfortunately, we have been dealing with these school shootings, these mass shootings for the past 25 years. So Salvador Ramos himself has been groomed and raised and trained and conditioned about how active shooter drills work. So you have kids, teenagers, 18-year-olds, I guess, in this instance, who himself has done the whole active shooter drill his entire school career. So anything that you think you might be doing, he knows it. You know what I'm saying? He knows where to go. He knows what the kids are going to do. He knows what the teachers are going to do. He knows what the drill is. So now we are in a period where potential school shooters themselves know all the tricks of the trade. They know everything. They know how the playbook is going to be run. So now what?
So the point is the teacher again spotted him before he dealt on before he got onto the into the building. So the thing is making an effort to lock the building down as quickly as possible. There should be in every section, there should be someone, a teacher or some type of point person in every corridor, near every particular door, whatever, that knows when this thing goes on, hit that door. You understand what I'm saying? This has to happen. And I mean, you don't want to sit there and be a sitting duck because ultimately that's what happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You waited to hope and pray that these bastards didn't come in, this dude didn't come in and murk you. Definitely check out the last episode of Warrior Class, and part 2 coming this Saturday to deal with that particular situation. For folks who are not familiar, Balagoon is the co-chair of the Urban Survival Preparedness Institute and also heads the African Martial Arts Institute. But yeah, we have to, I mean, you never, one thing about training as well, there should be different types of training in all situations. So to your point about, you know, these students have been through these active drills and so on and so forth. Okay, that's one level, but the teachers and the staff have to have another level. If you know that these youngsters are running up wilding like that, then you have to come up with alternate means. You can't just say, okay, well,
I mean, but what do you want teachers to do though? You know
what I want teachers to do? If the teachers want to survive, I want the motherfuckers to do whatever it takes to survive.
I think we're asking way too much of teachers because, I mean, here's the thing though. I mean, I agree with you, but the thing is, okay, so we expecting teachers to sacrifice their lives to save children. We expecting teachers to stand up there and teach during the middle of a pandemic. I mean, we're asking a lot of the teachers here. Meanwhile, the cops
this is the society we're in. When you
no, I know that,
when you leave your child in the custody of a teacher, the teacher is stands in as the parent at that particular moment. You know what I'm saying? No one wants to hear if you go to the school and your teacher tells you something happened to your child. You don't give a fuck about how stressed you were today. You know what I'm saying? How did my child die? That's what I need to know. So ultimately, if you're going to work inside of a school in America, in the United States in 2022, and you know that this is the order of the day, you have to know that your job description is going to go beyond just, you know, what's on the textbook or what's on the plan.
Yeah.
So either that, I mean, you risking your life anyway. So what do you say? Just let them on in and hope they don't shoot you?
No, I mean, I think we're number one. We're about to start losing a lot of teachers. Okay, because
we just lost 20-some students.
If I was a teacher, if I'm in college right now learning to be a teacher, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for this. Like I didn't sign up to be a freedom fighter either. But I'm concerned about our survival. No,
I didn't sign up to
want
to fight on our behalf of our people.
We had two teachers literally put their lives in between bullets of AR-15s in students' bodies, right?
That's a beautiful thing.
No, it's not a beautiful thing actually, because again, as a teacher, that's not their job. Like that's not their job. And if Uvalde School District has enough money to fund a police officers, plural, who are armed, school resource officers, which kind of brings us circling back to an ongoing debate as to whether or not school resource officers should even be in schools, because more often than not, they make students less safe, especially Black students and students of color. But dog, I'm sorry, like I don't think teachers should.
So you're in this building. Okay, you're in this building, Kim, and you're a teacher. Okay. Do you say, okay, shit, that door is unlocked right there. Should I go run and unlock this motherfucker, or the shooter might come? If the shooter come and the motherfucker unlocked, he coming anyway. At least if you got a chance to lock it, it's a better risk than standing there being a sitting duck. I'm not interested in being a victim personally. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to sit by and let anyone's child die with me standing right there. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about what your job is, because I think that's part of the thing that part of the reason we're fucked up as a society, because we look back and we say, well, shit, I ain't in it. That ain't my job. I mean, shit, if we all stood up against the motherfucking government like we should, then things might make a change. If we're talking
I
about protesting, we're
don't
talking about putting our
disagree with
bodies on
that,
the
but
line.
I'm talking about teachers specifically, though, Karan.
I hear you. Well, I guess I'm a different type of teacher. I respect
Yeah.
that. I'm guessing I'm a different type of teacher.
I mean, and admittedly, because I'm not a parent, I haven't stepped inside of a school building in a very long time. So, I mean, I see these school shootings in sort of a detached framework because I'm not a person who is sending my child to school and my child is doing active shooter drills. Like that shit is fucking bonkers to me that our country has devolved further to the point that is standard operating procedure. So I'm maybe not even the best one here to even have that conversation, but I'm just thinking as a person who has had a job in my life, if my job were to be in charge of 30 young minds, I don't see how I can be social worker, psychologist. I got to be a first reporter looking out for child abuse. You know what I'm saying? I got to be worried about COVID, and I got to be worried about some motherfucker coming up in here shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like that's too much.
Well, you got to get it. You got to get a different job, man.
No doubt. I think that's what's going to happen. I think our public school system is going to suffer because teachers are going to be like, this is not what I went to school for, man. This is not what I signed up for. So I hear what you're saying, but I just feel as though we ask too much of our teachers relative to the amount of resources that teachers actually receive to help them. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this and then I'm done. And I respect what you're saying. I'm not and this is healthy dialogue because of the fact I'm sure there are people that think like both of us, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this and I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. We are on a revolutionary platform. Not just talking about you. I'm talking about us as a whole. I'm talking about the people in the chat and everybody and everything, right? Okay. What I'm speaking on is not about individualism. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a collective process. I'm talking about the fact that in order for us to survive tyranny and oppression, in order for us to become victorious, there has to be some collective work. Okay. We have to be able to get with it. Now, everybody's always talking about we need to fight the police, we need to fight this, we need to fight that. But when it comes to a direct fight directly aimed at us, we ain't got no fight left. You know what I'm saying? And no, I wasn't there. And I wouldn't want to be there. But I know that I'm a father and I'm a grandfather. You know what I'm saying? And I did teach. You know what I mean? And we're about dealing with this shit collectively. We're going to hell in a handbasket if we don't stand up against these motherfuckers on all levels, at all stops, at all angles. That goes beyond the job because you can get another job, but you can't get another life. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, just me, had I been there, you know, I don't think I could just stand there and allow children to just being taken out. And I don't think that teachers should be superheroes. And I don't think, I respect teachers because, like I said, I taught in public education, and I'm all for independent schooling. But at the same time, sometimes there are things that are not in your job description that happen to come your way.
Damn, we didn't ask the teacher sitting right here, Dr. Jared Ball.
No, this was a great conversation, and I didn't want to interrupt. I know we're about to wrap anyway, but honestly, in general, I think that I agree with both of you in many respects. I think that teachers, I don't think it's realistic to expect that the situation can be improved by training teachers.
Cynthia, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know this. You know what I'm saying? People speak about things when they don't know
what happened,
you or know who you are.
Wait,
but anyway, just go ahead. I got sidetracked. But go ahead.
Okay. Sidetracking.
No, it's all good. Look, let me just wrap it here. I think both of you have said a lot of, if not all, that needs to be said on this issue, and I think that we need something bigger than leaving it. I don't think it can be dealt with at the level of teachers. I don't think that's you know. But I also just want to say I don't think any of us should be judged by the position we take on this one issue. So let's wrap there. Have a great. It's been a great start to the RemiX week.
Yes.
I appreciate.
Thank you, Zenzi
my
Bell,
comrades here. I appreciate
check us out at noon.
Super chat. I appreciate Sister May in the background, Ear Doctor on his unauthorized absence.
Hey,
Sister Erica for providing the stories.
Did y'all tell Ear Doctor he had to come to work tomorrow? Like you know, y'all gotta talk to him like y'all his real boss. No. If you have to come in tomorrow. Like
he's got some splaining to
required.
Do. He got some splaining, as they say.
He's got some splaining
but
to do.
We're gonna continue
and definitely
this
come
convo.
back at 12. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to continue this convo at 12 noon today. We will have Daruba Ben Wahad and Ajamu Baraka on, and we will be talking about gun violence. We'll be talking about gun safety. We will be talking about a lot of these matters that's going on, and how do we combat terrorism and imperialism and all these other isms. So we definitely appreciate you all checking in with us and getting our perspective on this critical political boom bap breakfast. We'll see you same place, same time, mañana. RemiX Morning Show. Yeah.
See you. Bye.